I'm just setting up a picnic for Jet and the friends. I'm going to wait for them to finish work. They're not quite here yet. Do you want to wait with me? I've got a story about Jet and her friends and the river. Would you like to hear it? Great. Jet is a firefighter and her life could not be better. She won awards, she got medals and commendation, all written in a letter. She loves her job and tries really hard to help everyone. Her job is exciting and challenging and most of all really quite fun. Jet's watch get on really well and are like one big family. She finally feels she can laugh and joke and be who she wants to be. Best of all, Jet has now got a best friend in a fire dragon called Frank. On days off work, they both would come down and sit along the river bank. It was on one particular hot summer's day that this story begins to unfold. While the birds sang and the sun shone down and the water looked glistening and cold. All the fire dragons had arranged to meet at the riverbank for a picnic and games and some fun. Jet was going to meet them after work when her shift had finally done. Frank arrived with Flash, then came Flame and Florence, and Smoulder and Smokey and Spencer, who they'd nicknamed Spence. Get the ball out! Let's have a kick! Football was a favourite of Frank's. I bet I can kick it right over there, pointing to the other side of the riverbank. He placed the ball and stepped back a few feet. He would need a run up for sure. His foot hit the ball. It soared into the sky as poor Frank's bottom hit the floor. The trajectory was good, but then the wind blew the ball and came an almighty plop. The ball had landed in the river and all the dragons called Frank a flop.
We need to go and get it, Frank,
said Flash, backed up by Flame.
We haven't even started playing yet and I wanted a proper game.
This wasn't going to be an easy task. Frank's nerves were plain to see. You see, dragons aren't known for their like of water and their swimming ability. Nevertheless, Frank decided the water didn't look too cold. It was a sunny day after all. He fluffed his scales to make himself look bold. By now the dragons were shouting,
Go on, Frank, you can do it. It's not too deep at all.
What are you worried about, you two chicken? Just go in and get the ball.
Get the ball.
Frank slowly edged to the water. He could see the small fishes swimming below. The water was cold but refreshing as it lapped over his foot and his toe. But as Frank walked in further, the cold completely took his breath away. Surprising how cold the water felt on such a hot, beautiful day. One more step and Frank could no longer touch the ground, his feet just dangling and slack. The water now all encompassing as it completely covered his wings and his back. The weight of the water pulled down his wings and by now Frank was in trouble. He couldn't breathe, his body hurt and his heart was going at least double. All the other dragons were not mocking anymore and the laughter had definitely stopped. The shouts of, "Go on, you can do it!" stopped. Now the shouts of, "Help me!" had swapped. Poor Frank thought his time was up and his days were finally done, when along came Jet, happily whistling to herself, looking for all of the fun. Jet's face changed, however, from smiles to confusion and then to worry. Her best friend was in trouble. She needed to be quick and she needed to hurry. Jet shouted to Frank, "You need to be calm, my friend. You need to try and float on your back. You'll get used to the water and your heart rate will slow and your breathing will get back on track. Frank listened to what Jet was saying. He laid on his back as he was told. He got used to the water and looked up at the sky, and the water didn't seem so cold. Jet managed to find a long branch off the ground. It had fallen from a nearby tree. She got down really low and reached out as she could. She'd need to reach carefully. Frank managed to hold on to the branch. "Hold on tight!" gave Jet with a shout. Jet pulled as hard as she could, and Frank was able to clamber out. "Are you okay?" Jet asked Frank. "Dry your scales off in the sun and the heat. Water can be dangerous if you're not used to it, especially if it's cold round your feet. Underneath there can be strong currents that could push you away into difficulty. Never think that the river is calm just because it looks like it should be." As Jet was talking about water safety, the ball drifted across into clear view of all. The dragons were able to play football again. Now they're able to reach the ball. This time, Frank was a little bit more cautious. He didn't want another swim. They played football away from the water's edge, so he didn't accidentally fall in. Frank dried off quite quickly. Scales don't hold water, you see. He thanked Jet for being such a good friend. If she hadn't been there, where would he be? So never play around near water, or you may also get a scare. Remember, if you fall in, float to live, and always be water aware. I hope you like that story. Oh, here comes Jet now. Jet throws that ball